football, now that's a rush. So if you're going to tackle it, you better get a hold of the right equipment. A 1995 Ford Ranger 4x4.
Red 39!
Complete with switch-on four-wheel drive, new four-wheel anti-lock brakes, and a whopping 4-liter V6. So get a Ford Ranger 4x4 and play truck football.
How am I going to spike this thing?
The complete story of the Trans Am series is now told for the first time ever on video in the history of the Trans Am series, 1966 to 1992. Packed with historic film and photos and interviews with Roger Penske, David Hobbs, Parnelli Jones, and many others, the history of the Trans Am series video chronicles the series from 1966 right up to the championship battle of '92. Order the history of the Trans Am series video for only $29.95 by calling 1-800-727-6689. That's 1-800-727-6689.
In these mountains, you need a tough truck.
Dave Ashley, search and rescue volunteer.
Trails, I tend to make my own. It's one torture test after another. But the people I'm looking for depend on someone to find them. Well, I depend on something too. My Ford F-Series. How do you learn a job like this? Let's just say I drive something tougher than a golf cart on the weekends.
Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford Tough.
Get the inside scoop, the division news, and dish out the winner. All the news from your favorite pro teams on DirecTV's Pro Football Insider with Fred Edelstein.
Sunday at 12:30 on Sports Zone.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Our threatening skies are threatening a lot more seriously than they were earlier today. You can see the rain is coming down at a very steady pace right now, making it miserable for the drivers. And you can even see there that puddles are starting to build up. The cars are still being led around this circuit by a pace car, waiting to see if the rain should subside or if it happens to get any heavier. We certainly hope it is the former. And now we're going to take a look at something a little different. While the pace car goes out here, we'll take a look at the latest Oldsmobile Track Fact.
Oldsmobile division is involved in many things in the racing world, both on the track and, of course, off the track. This is one of the things that they're involved in off the track. One of several PPG pace cars that do alternate in pacing some of the world's greatest drivers as a member of the PPG pace car team. Just a quick look at another Oldsmobile Motorsports activity.
Yeah, nice car, Chris. He gets all the good convertibles.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful paint job.
It is gorgeous. Well, we have been advised that apparently a red flag may be shown this time around, and the cars will be stopped in the pits to put on the full wet tires. The crews do have them ready there. See, it will be a 15-minute stop. So, Ron Fellows, what would this do to you if you're leading the race?
I'd be pretty ticked off is what I'd be, to be quite frank. I'd want to stop when I want to stop. Mind you, I'd have stopped in conditions like this anyway and put them on 10 minutes ago, and now I'd be on my way again. But so they're all going to be led into the pit lane. They're all going to have 15 minutes in which to change their tyres, by which time, of course, it will have stopped raining. And another hour or another 45 minutes, they'll come in again and change them all back to dry.
Well, it puts a premium on the pit crews today that they're going to have to maybe have their hands full should they go back to a dry weather condition. Now, these skies are still so unpredictable. They do not look like they'll stay in a serious rain condition. It is just impossible to tell. Pace car will bring them all to a stop. The crews will not be allowed to perform any other maintenance other than tire changes. Let's get down to Chris McClure.
Yeah, there's a time limit on it, and you mentioned that already. They can go to rain tires. That's really the reason for the red. But they can also change the windshield. If they've got a regular race windshield in there and want to go to another one that's treated for the rain, they're allowed to do that. After that, they sit there with the car until they're ready to go back on the track, because that's all they can do.
Well, you heard it there. There's the voice of experience. That is the AER car. Ron Fellows coming to a stop. He is our race leader. And even the AER owner, Buzz McCall, was kind enough to hold an umbrella over Chris McClure. So I guess Chris is off slipping him a $5 tab for that one. Ron Fellows sits in the car. Back at racing in just a few moments.
must say that when Aurora was ready to go, so were you. See what happens when you demand better? Aurora by Oldsmobile.
Until you try to win a championship, you think it's no big deal. But then you find out how tough it really is. And you realize you can't gamble on anything. Not on the car, not on the engine, and certainly not on the tires. You just got to go with the best. Goodyear Eagles, the proven winners.
Goodyear, #1 in racing, #1 in tires.
It isn't easy winning one of these things. And without Goodyear, it's almost impossible.
Power up with a power-engineered system from Competition Cam. Matching components for peak horsepower. Cams, lifters, springs, valves, rockers, timing sets, and push rods. An unbeatable system. Power-engineered components produce outstanding power and outstanding torque. Cam Help is your toll-free link to the Competition Cam's technical department. Call 1-800-999-0853. You can't beat a power-engineered system from Competition Cam.
At the heart of the new Aurora is a powerful 32-valve dual overhead cam V8. It lets you drive 100,000 miles before your first tune-up. It lets you go up to 50 miles in the event of total coolant loss. And for anyone who wants to know how powerful it is, that was Texas you just drove through. It's your money.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Bill Adam, David Hobb, Chris McClure with you. The cars have made their pit stops. They now all have rain tires on them. And, of course, now we're waiting for the sun to come back out, David.
We certainly are, Bob. Bill, rather, and from now on, these guys are on their own. If they decide to make another stop to change back to slicks, they have to do that at their own discretion, at their own choosing of time, and it is sunny outside now.
It's such a huge gamble that they are taking because you just don't know how long to stay. But Chris McClure had a chance to talk to two of the drivers, Tom Candle, Ron Fellows.
Crews continue the tire changes here, putting on the reins. We're with Tommy Kendall, who came in the fourth position in the race. Obviously, conditions changing, but tell me about your race car. You got a good steed under you?
I think we do. You know, the Roush car felt good in the dry. It's always been good in the wet. So sitting behind that pace car for all those laps was frustrating, and I'm sure the fans want us to get going as well. So I don't care what they decide. Let's just drop the flag and get back at it.
Okay, what if it goes back to dry? How long can the tires last? Do you have when the decision begins to be forced?
They won't probably go much more than 4 or 5 laps if a dry line develops.
Okay, Tommy Kendall, he sits quietly. The crews along here are continuing to work, and we'll move up to the man who was leading the race at the occasion of the red flag in the number 3 AER Chevrolet, the man who is pursuing the championship behind Tommy Kendall and came to the front relatively quickly. That would appear to suggest, again, you got one on rails.
Well, the car was very good in the dry. There's no question. It's always a lottery when it's wet. It's really kind of a shame, but we'll just have to go out and do the best we can in these wet conditions again.
Well, the best he can lately has been awfully good.
It sure has, and one of the races that we saw Ron just absolutely dominate was the wet race out at Portland earlier. Now, as the cars form up to take the green once again, we'll take a look at the top 20 cars. Ron Fellows leads over teammate Jamie Gallis, Dorsey Schrader, Tom Kendall, Boris Ed, 3 through 5. 6th is Scott Sharp, Paul Gentilozzi, Price Cobb, Brian Simo, Bill Saunders, the other Highway Master car back in 10th place now. 11th through 15th is looking like this with Brian Till, Tim McAdam, Rob Rizzo. We just lost our graphic there for a second. We apologize. We'll get this right back. Ray Kong was the next in line, and then John Gooding, I believe, was 15th. Cars snaking around the track. They will be reforming as quickly as they possibly can, David.
Yeah, the pace car lights are off, so they're obviously going to go this time around. As you've already said, Ron Fellows put on a spectacular show at Portland in the rain, and the way that chassis of his seems to handle, I don't see this being a major problem. But as he said, the rain is always a bit of a lottery. There's no two ways about it.
Well, the pace car dives off the track, and they're ready to take green once again here at Road Atlanta. Now the gamble. You're on a strange racetrack, basically. You've got no practice. How deep you go to these corners? Well, Dorsey Schrader is testing already.
And this is the tricky corner because the water runs across it, so it collects there a lot. And you can see it streaming off those tires of Ron Fellows at the front there.
Oh, and look at the spray behind the cars. These big rear deck spoilers just suck so much water off the track that for following vehicles, it's a huge problem. Brian Simo going up the inside of one of the high master cars, over the curb actually, but was able to make the pass.
Boy, he did. That was Gentilozzi. He went round and look already. Ron Fellows is stretching out. Oh, and that car, the third spot car there of Dorsey Schrader, snaking there as it went over that rain.
Here is where you try to apply. Oh, and look at this. The Rain X car, Scott Sharp.
That's Simo again, trying to get around Scott Sharp. He touched him going into the turn 5 complex.
Again, massive spray behind these cars. This is down the far end of the track. Brian Simo, he is on the charge right now. This young man is really moving this Tom Gloy car, the Valvoline car.
Very appropriate, of course. Brian Simo owns the No Fear clothing outlet, and he's certainly showing no fear at all this afternoon.
A very good point. They are onto the back straight. Now you're going to see a major wall of water being thrown up. Just look out behind Brian's car, showing there in 6th place. Charging down the straight where they were running 170 miles an hour. Now they're probably down to 140 in around that.
Look at the lead already that Ron Fellows has got. Here's Tommy Kendall struggling hard back there in 4th spot. Very bad spray. Wow, and here comes Simo absolutely flying through the dip there. Scott Sharp following in the yellow. Number 6.
Brian Simo has been so impressive since he joined the Trans Am Series last year. He is relatively inexperienced, but my gee, he does a fine job in these cars. Jamie Gallus also doing a fine job today. Now, he had his first, well, actually, he had a great 1-2 finish at our last race at Watkins Glen, right behind this man. Ron Fellows winning Watkins Glen, and Jamie followed up with a strong second. They are running that way right now. Teammates 1 and 2. Very neat driving right there down through these S's. Just a tiny puddle at that one apex.
Ron Fellows, there you see Jamie Gallows in the number 2 car, lying second. Behind him, Dorsey Schrader in the first of the Fords, but the Chevrolet...
Whoa, and a spin.
That was Dorsey Schrader, spun coming out of turn 5. Oh, and he's gone off. He'll never get it out of there. He'll be stuck.
He's going to have to be very careful. Oh. You can bet the wheels are spinning.
Boy, oh boy. I'm amazed.
I am too.
It just shows how good these Goodyear wet tires are. All that tread obviously grips pretty well.
This mud is very slippery, and for him to get out of that valley, the crater was a great job.
Boy, oh boy, that was amazing. Now we've got Tommy Kendall is up to 3rd spot. Does that allow him to come to grips with the 2 Chevrolets? It's looking unlikely.
A lot of passing going on back here.
That is Schrader again, wasn't it?
Dorsey, yep, up alongside Scott Sharp in the Rain X car. Normally Greg Pickett driving the number 6 car, but not today. And then I'm sure as Greg watches on TV, he's going to be glad that he's not here. Let's get a replay and watch what happened here. Back to Dorsey.
And here we see Ron Fellows coming up through the S's, making it into the turn 5 complex, which is this very tight left-hander here, very critical corner here, and just as he comes into there, we see Jamie Gallus going out in 2nd spot, and Dorsey applies the power just a little bit too early, backs her into the road there, is passed by, what, 3 people?
Yes.
Selects first gear and miraculously pulls it out.
And it's amazing. Well, it's important for Dorsey to do this. His championship hopes are a long way from being dead here. They are slim, but he still can become the 95 Trans Am champion. Was a winner here in 1989 at Road Atlanta, which was also the year that he went on to claim his Trans Am championship crown. Down through the S's, one more lap. We watch Dorsey Schrader, who has slipped out of 3rd place now. We'll look at 1 through 5. Ron Fellows and Jamie Gallus leads Kendall, Sed, and Brian Simo up to 5th place.
It's Country Star Jamboree at Six Flags. Come join our bonanza of a celebration. Enjoy arts and crafts, special exhibits, festive foods, and foot stomping shows every day, September 2nd through the 10th, plus weekends in September. Featuring in concert this Saturday, Joe Diffie. Pick up big savings on your Six Flags admission with discount coupons from Burger King. And come out for Country Star Jamboree, only at Six Flags over Georgia.